The stable always smelled of hay and clean wood. Morning light slipped through the open doors, resting softly on the golden coat of a Haflinger horse named Amber. She wasn't a towering, dramatic creature from storybooks. She didn't move with the untamed grace of a wild horse. Amber was something quieter, more profound. She was gentle, steady, and deeply observant. Before the baby arrived, Amber's days flowed in a predictable rhythm: slow walks through the pasture, quiet grooming sessions, and long peaceful pauses where she'd stand perfectly still, just listening to the world breathe around her. She found comfort in routine. She trusted the language of calm. Then Leo was born. He was brought to the stable for the first time on a mild spring afternoon. He was so small, wrapped tightly in a soft blanket, his little face barely visible. The air, usually filled with the familiar sounds of the stable, now carried something new: soft, tiny breaths, uncertain gurgles, a gentle rhythm Amber had never heard before. She lifted her head, her large, dark eyes curious. She didn't step forward or make a sound. She simply waited, a statue of patient observation. Leo's parents stayed close, their presence a quiet assurance. They were careful, respectful. They understood that you can't force a connection, you can only invite it. Amber lowered her head slightly, a subtle sign of acceptance. Her ears relaxed, and her breathing slowed to a deep, even pace. At that moment, as if sensing the shift in the air, Leo stirred and opened his eyes. And for the first time, they truly looked at each other. There was no sudden excitement, no flicker of fear. Just a shared, quiet curiosity. That was how their bond began. In the days that followed, Leo became a part of the stable's routine. His parents brought him back often, always around the same time, always for a short while. Amber began to recognize this new pattern. When she heard the crunch of gravel under their feet, she would turn her head toward the door, already expecting him. Leo, in turn, learned Amber's presence long before he could comprehend her shape or size. He learned her scent, the sound of her soft steps on the straw-covered floor. He grew calm when she stood near his blanket. Her breathing, that slow, deep, rhythmic cadence, seemed to anchor his own, steadying his tiny world. At first, there was no touching. Their connection was built on presence alone, on sharing the same space, the same quiet air. One sunny afternoon, Leo was lying on a blanket just outside the stable doors, soaking in the warmth. Amber approached with a gentle slowness, her hooves barely making a sound on the soft earth. She stopped at a respectful distance and lowered her head, inch by inch, until her velvety nose hovered just above the baby's tiny, wiggling feet. Leo kicked his legs gently, a little dance of discovery. Amber didn't pull back. Instead, she breathed out softly, a warm, gentle puff of air against his skin. It was a sound full of tenderness. And in response, Leo laughed. It wasn't just a gurgle. It was his very first laugh, clear and bright. That sound, that one little laugh, changed everything. From that day forward, touch became a part of their silent language. Leo's curious fingers would reach out and brush against the coarse, comforting texture of Amber's mane. She allowed it every time, standing perfectly still, carefully adjusting her weight so as not to startle him. She seemed to understand the fragility of the little being beside her. As the weeks turned into months, Amber became an integral part of Leo's world of learning. When he practiced lifting his head during tummy time, she would position herself in his line of sight, a steady golden presence to focus on. When he grew fussy and frustrated, her quiet nearness was often all it took to calm him. And when he laughed, she would flick her ears gently, as if she were responding in her own way, sharing in his joy. Their incredible bond was shaped by patience. There was never any rushing, no forced interactions, no dramatic gestures. It was a friendship built on a foundation of mutual respect and quiet understanding. As Leo grew stronger, he learned to sit up on his own and then to crawl. The stable, with its interesting smells and textures, became his favorite place of discovery. And with every new milestone, Amber adapted. She learned to step more slowly, to stand wider to create a safe space around him, to lower her head more often, inviting him closer. One evening, as the setting sun bathed the stable walls in a warm golden light, Leo crawled right up to Amber. He reached out with both hands, placing them on her soft face, and then rested his forehead gently against her muzzle. It was a moment of pure, unspoken trust. Amber closed her eyes, and for a long, beautiful moment, they stayed just like that, horse and child, breathing in unison. Years from now, Leo would learn to walk beside Amber, his small hand confidently resting in her thick mane. He would learn to ride, to care for her, to speak to her in a language of words. This wasn't a thrilling story about a dramatic rescue or a tale of heroism. It was something far more real, far more touching. It was a story about rhythm, about a gentle horse and a tiny baby learning to grow together. It was a story about trust being built slowly, patiently, breath by single breath. And in that peaceful stable, surrounded by the scent of hay and the warmth of sunlight, a small human learned one of life's most important lessons. He learned what true calm felt like, guided by a wise Haflinger horse who understood, better than anyone, that the deepest love never needs to hurry.